All right, what's up, everybody? Got another shoe review here, and if you've been around my channel for any length of time, you know I am a huge fan of Topo, and especially the UltraVenture 4. These are by far my favorite trail and ultra running shoe. But there are a couple things I don't like about them that I wish Topo would change for maybe the next version. So Topo, if you're watching this, which I hope you do, maybe the UltraVenture 5, you can, put some of this stuff into it. But that might be a big decision maker if you're on the fence about buying these or one of the other competitors' brands or another model that Topo offers. So stick around, and I'm going to be touching the stuff that I do like about them and the stuff that I don't like. And again, I do have at least 600 miles or more in this pair of shoes. I did just recently pick up, the same UltraVenture 4, but in a white, and as you can see, they're already dirty. So that's a good thing. I like running. And if you're new here, my name is Eric. I love talking about running and helping other runners like you become better runners. And one of the ways I do that is I provide training guides. You can go to myendurancelife.com or tap the link in the description or the pinned comment above, and I have every training guide available from a 25K all the way up to a 100-mile plan. And you'll be blown away about how these use hiking strategically as like a secret weapon, not a last resort when it comes to your ultra racing. But enough about that. Let's get into the shoe review. So I'm going to be talking about sizing, how they feel on the trail, how they feel underfoot, and actually how these feel on the road, because this is a good transition shoe if you run from your house to the trails, which I often do. And currently, right now, like, all my road shoes are worn out, so I've been using these a lot on the road, and you'd be surprised that they're actually not that bad. So, and then again, I'm going to touch on the stuff that I don't like about it. So, and if you are into that like nerdy stuff, the nitty gritty about how much they weigh, the drop, the stack height, and all that, put it in the description below, so you can scroll through that and redo it while you listen to what I'm talking about up here. So again, let's talk about how they've held up over 600 miles, because I think a lot of people, that's important to them, because unless you have an unlimited budget or you're sponsored, which you're probably not because you're watching this, that you really want a shoe to last. And like I said, I put 600 miles in these shoes, and I probably could get more. It's just that I knew that, with the race size trainer for coming up, that's why I bought this shoe, because I didn't want to run 100 miles in a shoe that had 600 miles on it. I wanted something fresh. And it's the minute I put these on, I realized like how fun and how good these actually feel. Even though these were still doing the job, the last long run I did in these was a 5-hour run through our mountains, where we got like 15 miles and 4,500 feet of vert and through some technical rocky terrain. So that's a testament to, even though these don't have a big lug pattern, like deep aggressive lug pattern like the mountain racers, or if you use like the something from Ultra or something like that, they're not that deep, but they do work, and surprisingly well, because they have a really soft compound. They do use Vibram. Vibram is the best for outsole material out there. And then I said I wasn't going to touch on the nerdy stuff, but they do have a 5 millimeter drop, which I tend to love, are really light, because so I found Topo when I was looking for an alternative from Ultra, zero drop, and I ran in the pursuit for a long time, until I started transitioning into the UltraVenture, which I eventually fell in love with. Just to relieve some of that pressure off my Achilles, because I ran a 100-miler a couple years ago now in the pursuits, actually 200-milers. And by the end of the second one, my Achilles was pretty beat up, and I couldn't wait to put on the predecessor to these, the UltraVenture 3s, to just relieve some of that tension. So it maybe, and again, I'm not a physical therapist or a doctor or anything like that, but if you do have tight calves, or like, your Achilles kind of bugs you, maybe going to a 5 millimeter drop if you're running at zeros will help. A friend of mine did the same thing, and he loves these shoes also. So another thing that I love about these is that there's really nothing exciting about them. Once you put them on, they're just comfortable. And if you're running ultras, especially if you're training for like a 50-miler, 100K, 100-miler, just a comfortable shoe is really what you're looking for. You're not really looking for performance, so to speak, because even though we like to run fast downhills, and some of us might have the talent to run pretty quick when it's flat, at the end of a 100-miler, we're just looking for something that's not going to be tearing up our feet, and something that is just comfortable for the long run. And that's where the UltraVentures really come into place. So they have plenty of room in the toe box, that I don't get blisters, and I've ran all 600 miles in the shoes without wearing anything other than my socks. I don't use lube. I don't use tape. completed I don't know how many 50Ks in this pair of shoes alone, and then I think the longest run I did was about 40 miles, and these are right under 40 miles, and then no blisters. So I do wear Injinji toe socks, which is an advantage to me, but yeah, it's I think that is just a testament to how well they fit. I don't I so for sizing, I do go up half a size. I wear a size 9.5 in a Vans, and these are a 10. So I go up half a size, and that gives me plenty of room in the toe box for my toes to wiggle around. And especially running downhill, I don't jam them. I do use a runner's knot. So that is one of the things that I do to keep my feet from sliding forward, and especially like lock me in when I'm going uphill, especially in that hiking part of the race too, if it's steep and you got to hike going up it, because I do wear my shoes really, really loose. I'm a one time one and done type of guy when it comes to tying them. Once I find that happy setting, I just slip these on and off, and I don't really ever tie my shoes again. As you can see that I tied these once and ran in it. So that's why it looks like my knot's so short, because I do wear them loose, and that's where the runner's knot comes into play, where it really just lets you lock in your heel, where you don't have to worry about slipping, but still lets enough room up in here for when your feet start to swell, and just after those long miles, say like 8, 10, 12 hours into a race or into an adventure run or a day in the mountains hiking, that you really don't want to be worried about adjusting your shoes. And sometimes you just get so tired where tying a knot just is really, really hard, and like last thing you want to do is retie your shoes. So that's just one of the things I really like about these. Another thing I really like is if it has a nice rocker. So what I mean by rocker is when you transition from your run, especially when you get tired. I know you're not supposed to heel strike, but I don't think there's really anything wrong with it, as long as it's not like overextending. Anyways, that's a whole nother video. But sometimes you do land heel first, and it has a nice transition from heel to toe, where other shoes might feel like you're kind of like slap and flop down if the rocker isn't perfect. But for me, these feel really, really good, especially when I'm getting into that ultra shuffle mode, where it's like slower than a jog but faster than a hike. If you run ultras, you know what I'm talking about. That's where these really come into play. Just like that ultra shuffle, it just feels really good. They do feel a little bit heavy compared to some other shoes that I ran in, like the mountain racers, and I can't remember. I did run in some ultras, the ultra wild. So the ultra wild feels a lot faster than these. If you're cross brand shopping, I do have a video out that I made right there if you want to watch it, where I compare the ultra wild to these shoes. Pretty good if you want to check it out. But let's talk about some of the things that I don't like about them that I wish Topo would change. One, they're not exciting. Like I said, that's a pro and a con. But when you put these on, it's like, some shoes you put on and immediately you just feel like, oh man, I can't wait to get out in the trails and rip around in these, because they just feel fun. Like when you walk around your living room when you first get them home and you just want to go for a run, these don't do it. At least they didn't do it for me. And then another thing, that there is no like positive return when you're running. They just feel dead, so to speak, a comfortable dead. Not like it's like taking anything away from me, but it's definitely not giving me anything off, no pop when I'm running, especially on the roads. Like I said, that these are a good transition from road to trail, but you're definitely not going to want to use these for a marathon or a half marathon where you're trying to go fast. If you want to, shuffle the whole thing or jog the whole thing, I go for it. But I wish Topo would give some kind of like better like compound foam. I don't know if they use the ZipFoam in these. It's not labeled ZipFoam. Oh, it actually is labeled ZipFoam, but it just feels like a different compound compared to the mountain racers or some of their road shoes, like the I can't remember the name of them. It's their marathon shoe, or like the Cyclone. Which I got the Cyclone. Where you put those on, they feel like they're actually giving you a positive feedback when you're running, especially the mountain racers. The mountain racers are really fun to run fast in. I have another video about those where I compared these to the mountain racers, and I tell you why I picked these over the mountain racers. But those are the two things that kind of like do it. I wish Topo would change. Make them fun to run in and more positive feedback. So the feeling is kind of personal. That's just me. But if you're training for a 100 miler, 100K, 50 miler, I guarantee that I can't guarantee anything, but I really, really think that you're going to love these shoes. Like I said, I've been through the UltraVenture 2s, 3s, and now the 4s. Really looking forward to the 5s. So again, if you want to download those training guides, go 25K all the way to 100 miler, like they're available. The first one's free, so check it out. Go to myendurancelife.com or click on the pinned comment up above, or it's tagged in the description. So again, and like, subscribe, and do all that other stuff, because I have tons of gear review videos. If you like shoe review videos, I try to put them out whenever I get around to putting some miles into these, because I'm not like those other guys who just log or throw a video up to throw a video up. I actually test these things, tried and true. Like, I do a race in at least not a 6-hour run before I even put out a video. So again, see you on the next video. Like, subscribe, download the training guide. See you at the finish line.